All right, so today we're going to learn how to do this type of thing. This is just for if you need a little refresher. And I'll just go ahead and do it, build it over again over here. So we're going to start off with, I got my place actors panel over here. You can always find that under Windows. Just it's going to be easier for what we're doing right now. So I'm going to be doing some cubes. Let's start with the platform. Just like something like that. Nice and thin. This is going to be like our little teeter-totter. I'll pull it down a bit. And actually, I want it to be able to spin freely without hitting the ground. So I'm going to lift it up just a little bit. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is put a sphere on top of it. And both of these objects are going to have physics enabled. So let's just go ahead and do that now. Simulate physics. Check. All right, let's watch what happens. Yeah, that's about what I expected. I don't know why it's going through the floor, but what I'm going to do next is I'm going to lock this thing so it can't move. So I'm going to go down to Constraints under Physics and click X, Y, and Z. Let's see what happens. Okay. So it rotated along kind of a weird axis. If I stuck this ball more in the middle, it'll probably go more like forward. But it's still a little wonky. So let's get that to work better. Click on this cube and hit the rotate button and see which. For you, it might be red, but for me, it's the green one. That's going to be, if you look at the rotational axes, that's going to be Y for me. If it's red, if you want it to rotate that way, like that, then you want to do the X-axis. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to lock everything except for the Y-axis in my case. Let's watch what happens. And you can see that it rotates just perfectly in center. It never stops rotating. So what we're going to do is we're going to, under the constraints, put an angular dampening of 1. And the more you go, the faster it'll slow down. So that'll spin and then kind of slow down. I'm going to actually put 2 so you can see the difference. Spins and slows down pretty quickly. And if you want it to spin down faster, then just put a bigger number. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a support for this. I'm going to use a cylinder for that. And I want to put this cylinder exactly in the middle of this object. So what I'm going to do is select this cube and I'm going to copy its location. And then I'm going to select the cylinder and paste its location. And you can see that it's perfectly centered now inside of this. They're in the same position. Shrink her down and elongate it. Take that and make it a little longer. All right, now what's going to happen is we're going to have some weird physics things going on where the board's not really sure what to do because there's this thing going through it. It doesn't like that. So I'm going to tell the computer to just ignore this thing. It's not going to do anything. So we're just going to go down to collision and say no collision. This is just decoration. And there we go. Next, I'm just creating, this is just, again, for decoration. You can do this or not. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to give it some supports here. So it just feels a little bit more natural. And do the same thing to the other side, just so it kind of feels like it makes sense what's happening here. There. Cool. So now it actually is not just floating in the air. It actually looks like this is doing something, even though we know the truth. So as far as that's, I'll go ahead and leave that video at that. That's just for constraints. So we'll create a new one for events.